She Loves Me is based on a film, The Shop Around the Corner, wonderful film with Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan.
But it was originally based on a play called Parfumerie.
There was a producer named Larry Kasha, and Larry had the rights to the film, The Shop Around the Corner, and wanted to do a musical adaptation. We wrote so much music that when we went on our out-of-town tryout, we found we had to cut about 45 minutes of music. Everybody was constantly singing, and still, She Loves Me is a show with a great deal of music.
He brought me ice cream, vanilla ice cream, imagine that.
I do love vanilla ice cream, and I think the reason that I wrote the song was because our book writer, Joe Mastroff, had mentioned it in the script, and I used it. I'm glad that he hadn't said chocolate ice cream, because that's harder to sing. The first production of She Loves Me back in 1963 was not successful. We ran about 8 months. I think it lost its entire investment, and those of us who wrote it loved it. The cast loved it. We were all heartsick. About a year later, we finally had a production of it someplace. And the cast wrote us a letter saying, we don't know why this didn't work on Broadway. Our audiences love it. And then, through the years, we kept getting letters.
Dear friend.
I think in the 90s, the Roundabout Theater Company did a revival of it. Scott Ellis directed it, and the reviews were love letters. And the following year, we had 60 performances. So suddenly the show became one of the shows that people do. And now, here it is another 20 years later, and Scott Ellis has directed it again.
Scott is so amazing because he'll ask you a question, he'll know the answer, but he will let you figure it out and think you did it on your own. So he works so well with actors. He's really funny. He is incredibly smart and intuitive. And he knows the show like the back of his hand.
I didn't like her. Didn't like her, I couldn't stand her.
I played George Novak, who's the lead clerk. He's a good guy. I mean, he likes his job, he likes the people that he works with, he has a great relationship with his boss, and all of that just starts becoming unraveled very quickly, partially because of Amalia Balish.
You have always resented me from the first day I came here, when I made you lose that bet to Mr. Marichek for 10 and 6, was it?
My take on her is that she's a little bit harder on the outside than she is on the inside. The Amalia that we see with George is a little like pricklier and tougher than the Amalia she shows through her letters.
Until then, count the hours. Oh, I'm late for work. Late.
I find that to be beautiful about her. Also, she's a modern woman. In 1930s Budapest, it wasn't common to be like a single woman looking for a job and 35 years old and not married. I really admire her pluck and her determination to support herself and find the right person, not just any person.
It's been grand knowing you, grand knowing you, grand being your friend.
I play Stephen Kodai, who is quite possibly the most charming and most amazing character in the play. No, he's a bit of a cad.
I do hope you've forgiven me about our little misunderstanding last night. I just can't bear it when we quarrel. Can you, darling, truthfully?
Go to hell. I play Ilona. It's a very sweet character. I really have fallen in love with her.
Come with me, Ilona.
No!
The number Ilona was just a brilliant collaboration.
We were rehearsing that number and we were slightly joking around and he said, well, then you'll do the splits. And I was like, oh, no, I could do the splits. You want to try the splits?
It happened very naturally, I have to say. There was no struggle, there was not even much conversation. She just spun around and fell on the floor, and then there we are.
Together.
We nicknamed that Stepmama Still Got It.
I think that what makes this revival special, it's David Rockwell's set. The building is so unusually handsome. When the curtain goes up, You can practically hear a sigh from the audience.
It really does feel like one of the characters in the show. It really is part of all of us and moves and dances and configures with all of us throughout the show. I remember coming the first day to the theater. I walked in and I was like blown away, and I just said to myself, oh, we're in this kind of show. This is going to be beautiful. Like, it was just, it lifted me to a new place.
I think it is the most joyful production I've ever been a part of. It is so funny. It's deeply like laugh out loud funny, but it's also very moving.
It's a heartwarming, charming, delightful, romantic comedy musical with incredible costumes, an incredible set, incredible score.
My hat is really off to Jerry Bach and Sheldon Harnick and Joe Masteroff. They've really created a perfect little jewel box of a musical.
Everybody calls it the jewel box, the music box, this beautiful little piece that has romance at the center of it.
It's like a confection, you know, it feels, but afterwards you don't feel like you want to lay down and take a nap, you feel like you want to eat more.